I stumbled across an interesting article on Bike Radar this week, essentially cautioning that hookless setups might have issues if the temperature or altitude changes while you're riding. And that's because both heat and altitude gain can change your tyre pressure. So Bike Radar quizzed someone from Continental Tyres about this, and the answers were really interesting. So Continental says, as a guide, that for every 10 degrees Celsius or 18 degrees Fahrenheit rise in temperature, your tyre pressure increases by about 2.5 psi. So if you inflated your tyres to 75 psi in the morning when it was 18 C or 64 Fahrenheit, and then as you ride, the weather gets to 34 Celsius or 93 Fahrenheit, the pressure could increase by roughly 4 psi. That's a big increase, isn't it?
That's way more than I thought. I knew it was a thing.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, half a psi. It's not half.
It is not half. I'm going to roll up my sleeves because I can hear my button clashing against the desk.
Or is it because you're ready for fight time?
So you're going to fight someone.
Perhaps.
Whoever invented Hookless.
So if you add altitude into the mix, it'll add even more pressure. Continental gave this example. If a rider inflated their tyres to 75 psi at 18 C at sea level, and then later rides at 34 C at 2,000 metres elevation gain, the combined effect could result in a pressure increase of approximately 6 to 7 psi. The reason this could cause issues with hookless setups is that they are less tolerant to higher pressures. And while tyre and rim manufacturers test their products over recommended PSIs, Conti still recommends riders consider using hooked rims if riding in environments with extreme temperature changes, as they are less sensitive to system tolerances. And I'll link that full Bike Radar article in the description if you want to read it yourself.
God, it's all well and good saying that, but most people aren't going to listen to this or know that information or listen to him and won't know.
Yeah.
But this is the problem I have with it. It's just there's no lots of people I know. There are lots of people I've met who've bought bikes and they have no idea that their wheels are hookless. So they're not going to know about this either, are they? They don't even know what hookless is. And they're actually, if they're then reading the number on the side of the wheel or the tire and pumping up to that pressure, sometimes that doesn't align with, like, a different number is written on the tire to what the max pressure on the wheel is.
Yep.
So you could go over it. We're kind of lucky that we're small and light, so we run less pressure anyway, so we're at less risk. But a heavy rider who will run right on that max pressure, even if they think they have got the correct number, got correct PSI reading, is then going to have changing. What if they ride up Alpe d'Huez on a really hot day and it's freezing in the morning?
Are people still riding at those pressures tubeless? Even in road setups?
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Loads and loads of people will go, oh, that's what it says on the side of the tyre, pump up to that amount.
You reckon?
Loads and loads.
I guess the scenario here at least is a very, very small number of people. There aren't that many people where they're going to be riding up 2,000 metre climbs on their bike rides, apart from when they go on holiday, which also is not that many people. And also that is a very extreme temperature variation. Of course, it affects some people, but it doesn't affect most bike rides. However, I just don't see the point in hookless. Why are we having this conversation? Why it's just a great example of the industry doing stupid things.
Yeah, that does seem a bit silly.
It's interesting that it looks like Envy is kind of backtracking on hookless. I feel like there was a point where most, if not all, of their products were becoming hookless, and now they're going with a thing called Mini Hook.
It's all Zips, all Envies, a few other brands, but the Envies have now released their newest wheel, which was being used by UAE pro teams, has like a smaller hook.
Well, that, to me, my big speculation on that is if you've got the most valuable cycling asset in the world on your wheels, or if you're the team and you're using those wheels, you're going to want to mitigate every possible risk you absolutely can. And if that means having a wheel that's got a mini rim on it so that it stays on, definitely, that's what you're going to say, we need this if you want to be a sponsor.
That's a huge speculation.
Oh, yeah, massive speculation. But maybe it's right.
Maybe. I saw the head of Silka he was making headlines last month because he called Hookless a scam. And then he just released another podcast where he backtracked slightly. He said maybe scam was a bit strong, but I want it to go away. If you're on it, be super careful.
I've got a set of 303Ss, Zip 303Ss. They're hookless. I've never had any issues whatsoever. However, Francis made a good point that I run them tubeless and I've never had them over 40 PSI. So in that environment, they should be fine, and they've proved to always be fine thus far.
Gravel as well. There's loads of brands that make their gravel version of their wheels hookless, but their road wheels are still hooked. And in that, they kind of get a pass because you're running way lower pressures, and a hookless rim is actually like a stronger shape because it's more impact resistant. So for gravel, it might make sense. Doesn't seem to be any downsides with the hooked wheels though.
Oh, so you're saying everything should be hookless, right? I see.
That's not what I said.
It just seems unnecessary, doesn't it? Like it's a product which is added risk that doesn't need to be there, and I think that's why it frustrates me a bit.
Yep. Wait, I have a theory about do you remember last week we were talking about Rotor having a new electric group set, and I mentioned my old Rotor 1x13, the hydraulic shifting. So it has these really tiny, they're like brake hoses, but even thinner for your gear shifting. And they have fluid inside. And I am convinced that when I rode it in Spain at altitude in lots of changing temperatures, that my shifting was going out of whack.
Why would that be?
And it wasn't me messing up the indexes because the pressure was changing and there's fluid in there.
Oh,
unlike a brake hose, it's a really skinny little thing, so it'll be affected more. That's my theory.
That's an interesting, but applying that to brakes, then surely your braking does change under pressure as well. So you might hear more rubbing at altitude where there's more pressure in the system.
I think it would. Ask a scientist.
Or we could just fly to Mount Cade and find out for ourselves.
Oh, that place. I'm not going back.
Maybe there's a cheese market at the top.